Before you sleep tonight, listen to this carefully. Because if you ever hear someone call your name when you're alone and the voice sounds exactly like you, do not answer. This is the terrifying recording a woman found in her hallway. A recording that should not exist, a voice that should not know her name and definitely should not sound like her own. If you're easily scared, turn this off now. But if not, let me tell you why you should never follow a voice that comes from behind a closed door. Her name was Melissa Carter, and before this happened, she swore she didn't believe in anything paranormal. She believed in logic and facts and things that made sense. But logic couldn't save her from what she heard inside her new home. The strange thing started 3 days after she moved in. At the end of her hallway was a single wooden door. Her landlord told her, "Never open this room. It's not for storage, it's not for repairs, just keep it closed." He didn't say why, and she didn't ask. But the house was quiet, too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes your ears ring at night. On the 5th night, around 2 in the morning, Melissa woke up to a sound, a whisper, soft, almost gentle. And it said her name. She sat up immediately. She knew the voice came from the hallway. She didn't hear footsteps. She didn't hear anyone enter, just the whisper. "Melissa, come here." She stayed frozen in bed. Minutes passed. Then the voice repeated itself, same tone, same distance. "Melissa, please." She thought she was dreaming until something even worse happened. The voice changed. It didn't sound like a stranger anymore. It sounded like her own voice, calling her name from inside the closed room. The next morning, she tried to convince herself it was stress, or maybe she was half asleep. But that night, the voice returned, louder, clearer. Melissa opened the door. She grabbed her phone, placed it on the floor near the room, hit record, and ran back to her bedroom. What the recording captured was nothing she could explain. Instead of one voice, there were several, all whispering her name, all slightly distorted, all sounding like versions of her. Some slow, some fast, some overlapping like they were arguing with each other, but every single voice was hers. The next morning, she listened to the recording again. Then she noticed something she hadn't heard during the night, a final whisper, right before the recording stopped. It said, "Let us out." Melissa's heart dropped. She called her landlord immediately, demanding answers about the room. His reaction terrified her more than the whispers ever could. He didn't act surprised. He didn't deny anything. All he said was, "You opened it, didn't you?" She told him she hadn't, and he sighed in relief. Then he said, "Good, because the last tenant who opened it didn't stay themselves for long." Melissa asked him what that meant, but he hung up. That night, she pushed a chair against her bedroom door and tried to sleep. But around 2:14 a.m., something new happened. The voice called again, but this time, it didn't use her name. It used her thoughts. It whispered a sentence she had been thinking earlier that day, a sentence she never said out loud. "Why is this happening to me?" Melissa couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. The voice behind the door was no longer just calling her, it was listening to her. The next morning, she made her decision. She had to open the room. Not because she wanted to, but because she couldn't live with the unknown. She slowly unlocked the door. The moment it opened, a cold wave of air pushed past her. The room was empty, completely empty. Except for one thing, her phone. The phone she had placed outside the door was now sitting inside. She picked it up with shaking hands. There was a new recording. It started with her footsteps leaving the hallway. Then the sound of the door opening, something she knew she never opened. Then breathing, her own breathing, but she wasn't there. And then the final whisper in her exact voice said, "I'm out." She moved out 2 days later. The landlord never returned her calls, and the house remains empty. But neighbors say the hallway light still turns on by itself, every night at 2:14 a.m. If you want episode 3, or you want me to cover another terrifying case, follow now and comment episode 3. And remember, if a voice calls your name tonight, make sure it's really yours.